Hi! I had to switch to my phone because I couldn't figure out how to work it from my desktop. Dang it. So hopefully I'll be able to see comments and I'll be looking at different screens, but I'm just gonna go and I don't know if anyone's there. We talked as a staff, or some of us, about doing some of these Facebook Lives, and just I volunteered to go first to do what the heck is this Ayurveda stuff that Kara keeps talking about. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background to talk to you about how did Ayurveda come about in my life and some examples that I've had. So I'm just going to talk a little bit, and then if you've got comments, questions, please type them in. Oh, Melissa, hi. Okay, so it pops up. That's great. I didn't know how this worked. Hi, Claire. So my mom has MS, and she has a really wonderful woman named Margot that is a massage therapist that has worked with her for years. And she is based in Monroe. My mom lives in Snohomish. And she's just this amazing woman who, for example, she made this beautiful foot soak filled with flowers. That's kind of where that is inspired from, that we do here at Kara's Beauty Barn. And she did this ritual for me before my first wedding, and cleansed my feet before we got married. It was literally so beautiful and just set the tone for the day. And she came to me and said, have you heard about Ayurveda? So this fast forward a few years, and it's when I was leaving teaching and going into aesthetics and kind of dipping my toe into that world. And I was like, I've heard about it. I know I've learned about some things about it. And there was people that on Western's campus that I would see talking about Ayurveda, and like it was kind of like around me, but never knew what it was. Well, she told me all about this service called Shiradura, and I went to a training in Seattle to learn about this service, and that was my first introduction to Ayurveda. And it was something about it stuck with me. It was so beautiful. It's an oil treatment that goes on your third eye and runs through your hair, and you do massage with that oil, and the oil is based on your dosha, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's all about being individualized to you, and that's what's really beautiful, I think, about Ayurveda all the way around. Ayurveda is an ancient system, like 5,000 years old, of I just think of it as wisdom. I pulled up, I'm going to look over here to read like the exact definition. Is Ayurveda is a holistic approach to health that emphasizes the connection between the body, mind, and environment. And that's, so I'm used to hearing body, mind, and spirit, body, mind, and like the idea that it's body, mind, and environment is so cool to me, that it's like everything, we are all made up of the same stuff. And so Ayurveda, it basically says that every single thing, whether it's an innate object or a living object, is made up of elements. And those elements are space, air, fire, water, earth. So all those things are what every single thing is made up of. And there's something really like uniting to my brain about that. And that's, it makes everything make sense to me. So I learned all about the Shiradura. And then next kind of Ayurvedic thing that came into my world was going to India for my bonus daughter. Ivy is the oldest of our 4 daughters, and she did her last 6 months of college in India, and Clint and I went. It's been 2 years ago now, maybe 3. I don't even know. It was so amazing. I have a really, really sensitive nervous system, so when I travel, it's I get really, for example, when we went to Japan for another experience, I did not use the bathroom for 10 days. It just, everything stops, everything closes down. And so going to India, I was like, okay, how am I gonna have my system be more settled? And it's so interesting because I'm super excited and I'm interested and I want to know, but like inside I'm like, ooh, what's happening? Things are off. So what we did was we went to this place called Shreyas. It's Shreyas, Shreyas. And it was like a yoga retreat resort is what I found it online. It just was a random find that but it was Ayurvedic. And I was like, ooh, I know about that and I want to know more. So that's how we went straight from the airport to Shreyas. Ivy wasn't able to meet until later on into our trip. And we were like, if we're going halfway across the world, we got to stay long enough so that we're really experiencing it. So we did this portion of the trip, just he and I, until she was ready to meet up with us. And at this place, it was just, we were there for 3 full days. That was it, you guys, 3 days. And in those 3 days, it was transformational. So a couple different things. The diet was just super clean. It was all vegetarian, no dairy. It was, they totally adapted for me because I don't like a lot of fruit. So like they were really careful if they included fruit, they would check with me. It was so sweet. It was so beautiful and beautifully displayed. It was so special, and it was so specific to each person. So they took into account what your body needed. So they did, and there was a Western doctor and an Ayurvedic doctor. I think they were married, because I saw them another time. And just holding hands, nothing dirty, but just, I was kind of like, ooh, this is kind of fun. So they did a consultation, and Clint had no idea what I had signed us up for. I didn't know what I had signed us up for. It was amazing. So they interview us and have it was like a doctor visit where they asked what's going on with your body? What do you want help with while you're here? And they tailored the whole experience to what we said. So my thing was, I want my nervous system to be calm while I'm traveling. And the other thing, I was starting to have perimenopausal symptoms, and I'm run really warm as a human anyway. And I said, I'm just hot. Everything about me is hot. I have rosacea and it's heat. I wake up and I'm hot. I was like that even as a little kid. So add hormones on top of it, and it was like, oh my gosh. So she said, pull the heat. We'll pull the heat. And I was like, perfect. That'd be great. That's what I want to do. Clint talked about his 2 things that he wanted to deal with were snoring, and he has psoriasis on his legs and he's sensitive about it. So, those were his things, and they were like, got it. So they tailored food for me. So my specific dosha imbalance, and dosha is kind of what parts of those elements. So the fire, air, wind, space, earth, which things are out of balance out of those elements, and I have high fire, right? So my pitta is high, and the things that she recommended for me were ways to cool it down. So I had lots of things like mint and cucumber and cooling watermelon. I do like watermelon dinner. And Clint's he's actually high pitta too. So we had a lot of the same foods, but he would get just basically like more food. He's a bigger human, so they would adjust it to him. They gave him more nuts. So this was really, it was interesting. I don't know exactly the reason why for some of those things, other than he's just a big man. So maybe that was it. Then, so that was the food component. There was 3 different sessions during the day of yoga. So you could join if you wanted to, not if it was up to you. The grounds were just beautiful. Everything was outside. And then there was also, they taught you how to use a neti pot. So like cleaning out your sinuses, things like that. Which is part of one of the daily rituals that Ayurveda recommends to keep your nasal passages clear. And really part of what the deal with that is mucus, that like we have mucus and membranes throughout all of our body. And when that gets clogged up, it's like your, what's that word? It's hard because it's Sanskrit, but, when stuff, Ami? I'll think of it. Agni is digestive fire, but Ama is when things start to get stuck, and Ama is what causes dis-ease and also causes disease. So when you get, you think about when your sinuses get clogged up, then you can get a sinus infection. So same thing happens when things start to get stagnant in your body, where like all the things you're trying to do is to move that ama so that it doesn't create a stuck spot. So neti pot, yoga. Yoga is considered like a sister science to Ayurveda. They're closely linked. And then there was also a spa as part of the resort, and we had specific services that were recommended based on our issues that we had. So Clint had he had this orange packed stuff. Now I wish I have been on a hunt, and I think I found some things that are close to it at the India Mart here in Bellingham, and that place is just amazing. The van is just so wonderful. If you have not been there, highly recommend it. But it was this orange packed mud that they put on his psoriasis, was one of his treatments. He also had a Thai massage that literally he said like they had him, Clint's I don't know, 250-pound man. They had him hanging by his ankles. It was so funny, you guys. And then at the end of the services, they gave you this tea, and it was basically mandatory that you drink this. Like they kind of made sure that you drank it before you left there. You basically like you had to. A lot of language barrier. So I was so curious about all of these things that they offered, but it was hard to get through some of the language barrier. But like I wanted to know ingredients of like, what is this stuff that you're putting on us? It was incredible. But this tea at the end was so bitter. And one of the parts of Ayurveda is different parts of nutrition for like optimal health is that you want to have all of the tastes represented in your food as much as possible. This next class that we're going to have at the Beauty Barn on February 7th is about nutrition and talking about how do you do that and how do you represent all of those different tastes in your food, and that helps balance our bodies. So the bitter tea was really crazy, did not taste good, and it just doesn't matter. Like, it's good for you. Drink it is basically the message that they were telling us. Cleansed psoriasis. By the time we left Shreyas, on his leg, all of like the plaque component, he kind of has like a brick size patch on his leg, and all of the scaly plaque was completely gone off of his leg in 3 days. What in the world? Like, it was crazy. I had this service. They packed mud all over me, like neck down. You could imagine, like, here I am, this curvy white girl with tattoos everywhere. The woman was just like, she was so sweet and just giggly at me, and I was trying to find out everything I could, and we could not communicate, but it was a very sweet experience. So she packs me with this mud and leaves me in the sun. It was the only day in India when we were there for weeks that was not very warm, but it was in the sun, but it was not super hot. And she left me there for about an hour. And then hi Colleen, and she, after about an hour, took me to an outdoor shower and washed me. It was really wild. Like, and I was a little uncomfortable at first. I was kind of like, I can do it, but I don't think I could have. Like, it was packed so tight on me, and she had to get it. We got it all off. And I just now, so I think it was 2 Novembers ago when we went, just now I'm starting to be warm, like too warm again. It took the heat out of me. 3 days, it was so profound. I don't know what in the world. It was like I had the chills. I couldn't do anything that night. It was like a healing, and they talk about like a healing crisis where it's almost like things get a little bit worse before it's better. And that's a thing that happens, not just in Ayurveda, but just healing in general, where something really impactful like that, it was really wild. So I left India, and there were more experiences throughout. Just the country in general was so amazing, but really left with a like, I want to know more. I want to bring this to the beauty barn and have people learn more about this. I'm not even sure what to call it. Lifestyle. It's just like it's a way to look at how you can live more holistically. I looked up the Ayurvedic Institute is a website that I really like. Somewhere on Facebook, I linked it. I don't know where that is or what it looks like on your end, but I did link it somewhere. So it says Ayurveda identifies 3 basic types of energy that are, or functional principles that are present in everyone and everything. So that's right, like all of those elements. There's no single word in English to convey this kind of concept. So we use the Sanskrit words for the doshas, which is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And it's all related to the biology of the body. It also is related to how time is regulated. It's fascinating. Seasons are based with doshas. Okay, it also says energy is required to create movement so that fluids and nutrients get to the cells, enabling the body to function. Energy is also required to metabolize the nutrients in cells, lubrication, structure. All of us have all 3 doshas present. So we have all Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are in all of us, but one is usually primary, secondary, and then the third is the least prominent. And the cause of disease, so I say disease, and I say it a little like dis-ease, but it's also disease, in Ayurveda is viewed as the lack of proper cell function due to too much or too little of Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. So that's kind of the doshas are all represented by the elements. So, okay, Vata is associated with movement, and it's composed of space and air. So in our Ayurveda class, I pulled out some of the, we took 2 different quizzes, and one was all about your prakruti and one was about your vikruti. And those are different things. So your prakruti is what you're born with. So it is what it's your genetics. It's what you got from the genes from your parents. And those things aren't changeable. So like there's a certain amount of just, you are what you are. So in my case, like I have a lot of my dad's genes, say, and he is excess pitta. My mom probably tends to run a little vata. And those things are the most present. Then your vikruti is your current state. So I am in a current state, I think, because I'm in a transitional time. My kids are flying the nest. I'm figuring out professionally where I sit at the beauty barn, what's my jobs, my roles. Less time in the treatment room. I have more time to do my own thing, and it's a really interesting time. So my vikruti is different than my prakruti because my current state has me in more of a vata time, which is I'm more in my head a little bit. I've got some anxious energy because there's that air present, more air. So let me read about vata. Is composed of space and air. It governs breathing, blinking, muscle and tissue movement, pulsation of the heart, and all movements in the cytoplasm and cell membranes. In balance, Vata promotes creativity and flexibility. Out of balance, Vata produces fear and anxiety. So I know if my Vata is higher than what it normally is, then I want to pay attention to how to decrease Vata. So we can talk about different ways to do different things. I'll have to access some different materials, but basically, like, how do you calm anxieties? For me, it's like I meditate more, I move more so that I'm using up some of that excess nervous energy, things like that. I can also make sure that Vata foods are, like if you are high Vata, you need foods that are really grounding. So you need earthy foods like warm soups, like noodles, things that are like heavier, denser, will taste good and be grounding to you. Pitta is expressed as the body's metabolic system. So it's made up of fire and water. So for me, that one is naturally the highest. It's the most present in my body. So even though my prakruti is pitta, right now I have some more vata going on, but all the time I've got high pitta. It governs digestion, absorption, assimilation, nutrition, metabolism, and body temperature. In balance, Pitta promotes understanding and intelligence. Out of balance, Pitta arouses anger, hatred, and jealousy. So, Pitta's fire. Okay, I'm going to try to look over here. It's a lot to try to talk and then look. Ooh, Claire, I see your question. How do I balance both? I'm Pitta, yet I'm overweight. So Kapha, how do I balance both? So when you've got high Pitta, so you've got Pitta going on, so your fire energy is up, but then Kapha is like, Kapha is bones, muscle, tendons. It's like you've got to find ways to, the people that tend to be high Kapha are like super reliable. They're really, I'm going to read this part that's really interesting. Kapha supplies the water for all of our bodily parts and systems. It lubricates joints, moisturizes the skin, and maintains immunity. In balance, Kapha is expressed as love, calmness, and forgiveness. Out of balance, it leads to attachment, greed, and envy. Life presents us with many challenges and opportunities. Although there is much over which we have little control, we do have the power to decide about some things, such as diet and lifestyle. To maintain balance and health, it's important to pay attention to these decisions. Mind, body, and consciousness. So Kapha, how do you increase energy? I think the balance of figuring out Kapha things is like the opposite of what you would do with the Vata, of you're going to try to do things that energize you. Like Claire, you said the other day, you posted a video about being in nature. I think outside is going to increase that Kapha energy. Being in wind would be awesome, so that you're adding in more of that high air space energy as opposed to the super grounded energy that you have during this time. You're doing all the things, right? You're doing your water aerobics, you're doing things that are bringing you out of that, like Kapha tends to head towards depressive side, that are stimulating to stay out of that. Okay. Hi, Christy. Let's see. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. I want to tell you about India. A couple of things. I want to make sure that I say resources in our community. So Lexis Criswell is the gal who's been doing the classes here at the Beauty Barn. Also, a couple of ladies, Kelly Nickish and Brandis Gunderson. Brandis is a PT in the community and is also an Ayurvedic life practitioner. She's a fantastic resource. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure out how to get that information, or just look it up, Brandis Gunderson. Kelly Nickish teaches yoga and menopause movement for women, and it's all with Ayurvedic principles behind it. Lexis Criswell teaches at Whatcom Community College, a similar series to the one that she's doing here at the Beauty Barn. She's wonderful. She's really knowledgeable. She worked at the Chopra Center as kind of her background, and is now getting a PhD in something mindful. I don't know. It sounds amazing. So couple of resources there. Another avenue for Ayurveda that we have is Banyan Botanicals. We carry some of the Banyan Botanical line here at Kara's Beauty Barn, but the Banyan Botanicals website, I would love it if you still supported us by buying products from us. Would be amazing. But their website has a ton of information. If this is something where you're just like, I really like what Kara's saying, but I really, like it's words I don't know or haven't heard before, and I want to really understand more, that is a really, really great website. It's simple information that is really like approachable and I think really helpful. How's it going, you guys? What do you want to know more about? Let me get to the bottom. Hi, Susan. Hi, Bryso. let's see. Here's a little bit more about, ooh, yeah, Clara's talking about the nasal oil. Let me run and grab it really fast. This was another thing that we did at the Shreyas Resort. So this is, it's called nausea oil. Nausea is just nasal. And you just tip your head back, you can lay back, and you just drip a couple drops of oil in the nose. It's herbal, there's herbs in it. It's basically just like a sesame oil mix. And the idea is to keep your nasal passage lubricated so that nothing gets stuck. It's supposed to help great with seasonal allergies. I used it all last year, and my allergies throughout the spring were better than they'd ever been. So that is pretty amazing. The other piece I just used today on a client was the healthy hair oil. Also works really well with the bakuchi oil. The bakuchi oil can work all over the body. The healthy hair oil, Emily used it and her hair looked so stinking good. It's just, you put it in a little bit in your hair. My hair is dry. I run dry enough because of that pitta, because I've got the fire. My body just soaks up all the oil. So I can put it directly in dry hair and still be able to like have normal hair. If you run really oily, or if you're not as high pitta, your hair will probably be a little bit oily. But if you put it in there and then just put a towel down, sleep in it, and then shower the next day, it's seriously incredible. Your hair is so healthy. I'm drinking the tea right now. This is another Banyan product. The one I'm drinking is Mellow Mind. These teas are beautiful. It's just a loose leaf tea. They work as a great gift for people. People are loving that. We have that at the Beauty Barn too. So, one of the other things, the healthy habits. Oh gosh, yeah, I tried that. Yeah, Emily's talking about her hair. We do have a dosha quiz that I believe it's on our website, that you can figure out what dosha is your dominant dosha, and that's the one that you want to focus on. Is really basically it'll give you that information, and it asks you questions like, what's your hair like? Is your hair curly, straight, coarse, right? It does all of those things. And what's your, I did one where it was asking about your teeth. Like, it's really interesting how it kind of sorts and sifts to what your dosha is. And so there's quiz you can take. There's 3 primary doshas. It is possible to have 2, like to have a tie, and that they're both really high, so you're bi-doshic. The goal is that they're balanced. So like the goal in all of Ayurvedic thinking is that we are in balance, so that mind, body, environment is all balanced out. So I don't know that it's possible. I think it's kind of like the idea of enlightenment. It's a goal, but it's probably not totally, I don't know if that's too downer to say it's not achievable, but I'm going to work for it. So let's see. I'm looking at the paper this is from Lexis from our class that's all about the doshas. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So Vata is made up of space and air, and it deals with vocal cords, flow of blood, motion of your arms and legs, movement of thought. So when you have, when your mind is racy, when you are stuck in your head a lot, when you have restless leg, when you, if your blood is clotty, like when you think about menstruation, this is Vata stuff. So qualities of Vata are cold, light, dry, irregular, rough, moving, quick, changeable. So you think of somebody that's like, She gave the example in our class of if you relate them to birds, Vata is a hummingbird. So just like quick flitting around and like next, 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 next. Lexus did a really good job of talking about how there's not a good, there's not a bad. It just is. And we need a balance of, she gave the example of a workplace of like, if we all were in a workplace and all were one type of dosha, it just would be a nightmare. Like we need to balance each other out. And we need Vata energy, Pitta and Kapha energy present to make that all feel good. Physical characteristics of Vata are usually have thin, light frame and excellent agility. Their energy comes in bursts and they're likely to experience bouts of fatigue. Vatas typically have dry skin and hair and cold hands and feet. Sleep lightly and their digestion can be sensitive. When Vata dosha becomes imbalanced, this imbalance manifests in the body as weight loss, constipation, hypertension, arthritis, weakness, restlessness, and digestive challenges. Emotional characteristics are they love excitement and new experiences. They're quick to anger, but also to forgive. When Vatas are in balance, they're energetic, creative, and flexible. They also take initiative and are lively conversationalists. When they feel overwhelmed or stressed, they're likely to say, "What did I do wrong?" Okay, so now I'm going to Pitta. So elements of Pitta are fire and water. Pitta governs body functions related to digestion, metabolism, and energy. Qualities of Pitta are hot, light, intense, penetrating, pungent, sharp, acidic. Those with the predominance of Pitta have a fiery nature that manifests in both body and mind. It just makes me giggle a little bit. The bird for this one was an eagle. Tends to be people in leadership positions. Physical characteristics are people with predominance of Pitta are usually medium size in weight. They sometimes have bright red hair. Baldness or thinning hair is also common in Pitta. They have excellent digestion, which sometimes leads to believe they can eat anything. They have a warm body temperature. They sleep soundly and have a strong sex drive. When in balance, Pittas have a lustrous complexion, perfect digestion, abundant energy, and strong appetite. When out of balance, Pittas might suffer from skin rashes, burning sensations, rosacea, peptic ulcers, excessive body heat, heartburn, and indigestion. Emotional characteristics have the Pitta have powerful intellect, strong ability to concentrate. When they're imbalanced, they're good decision makers, teachers, and speakers. They're precise, sharp-witted, direct, and often outspoken. Out of balance, can be short-tempered and argumentative. And when Pitta is over stress, they typically ask, "What did you do wrong?" So Vata was, "What did I do?" Pitta is, "What did you do?" Kapha, so this is the one, Claire, that you were saying that you were high in right now. Kapha is all about structure and fluidity. It's derived from water and earth. This dosha controls the structure of the body and maintains strength and physical form in everything. So bones, muscles, tendons, right down to the cells. Qualities of Kapha: heavy, slow, steady, solid, soft, oily. Physical characteristics: Kapha types have a strong build and excellent stamina. Large, soft eyes, smooth, radiant skin, and thick hair are also Kapha characteristics. Those who are predominantly Kapha sleep soundly and have regular digestion. But when Kapha builds to excess, there could be weight gain, fluid retention, and allergies manifest in the body. When they're out of balance, Kapha types may become overweight, sleep excessively, and suffer from asthma, diabetes, or depression. Emotional characteristics: Kaphas are naturally calm, thoughtful, and loving. They have an inherent ability to enjoy life and are comfortable with routine. When in balance, Kaphas are strong, loyal, patient, steady, and supportive. People with an excess of Kapha tend to hold on to things, jobs, relationships, long after they are no longer nourishing or necessary. Oh dear. Excess Kapha in the mind manifests as resistance to change and stubbornness. In the face of stress, the typical Kapha response is, "I don't want to deal with it at all." So it's, "What did I do? What did you do?" And like, nope, blocking it out. There's things this paper starts to talk about medical, like how can it be used medically, and really, I look at it as like Ayurveda is not a supplement to medicine. I look at it as like it's in combination. So if you can look at ways to use Ayurveda to help your nutrition, help your daily habits, help your kind of spiritual outlook, like giving yourself time and space to have a practice and a ritual, it's naturally going to help your hopefully less need for medicines from like Western side of things. So they work really well in unison, and one should not be done. I don't think one should be done without the other. But it's a way to kind of understand what is happening in the body by learning all the different systems, how, like, what is Western medicine trying to treat, but Ayurveda gets down to the root. So it's like when things are out of balance, you're gonna find so there's going to be reasons for it. So instead of just the quick band-aid, the quick medicine, what can we do? Daily habits. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways for me, is just like when I am doing a daily practice of paying attention to myself, and that's really what Ayurveda has helped me with, is like, what am I doing to nourish myself, both with food, with energy practices, and how am I going to start my day? What am I putting into my brain? Like, what am I watching? What am I listening to? Is it something that's fueling me and helping my body, or is it a detriment to my body? And those daily habits have made it so that I can take less medicine, or I can feel happier and more balanced in my life. It's not to say it's, I mean, my God, there's things, there's gonna always be things, but it's how resilient can those daily habits help you be, so that it's just like, well, okay, we're in a Vata season, so what are we gonna do about it? So what I wanted to say something more about the Shreyas thing. Oh, another story that came up at Shreyas. So there was a lady there, kick in the pants. Her name was Daisy, and she was probably, I don't know, maybe mid-60s. She was just so proud of herself. She was showing off. And what I now know, what she was doing there, is called Panchakarma. And Panchakarma is like a whole series of, it's like a hardcore treatment that's an Ayurvedic treatment to that you put people through. I don't even know how to say it. That if you were staying there longer, that's what was happening at this place. So I think what was going on is, to Westerners, it's a yoga retreat, right? And in India, it's a Panchakarma, like literally medical treatment facility. So Daisy was there. She had been there for 3 weeks. She was going to be there, I think it was 6 weeks total. And when she came, she was in a wheelchair. And I don't know what her disease is, her ailments, but she couldn't walk. And she said, I came here, so I decided that I could either do this and save my life, or I could spend $20,000. I could spend the same $20,000, because I think that's what it would be. I think probably even more than that, on a surgery that I'm probably thinking some sort of back issue. I could spend that money on a surgery that may or may not help me, but this is going to for sure. And we were there at the 3 week point, and she was walking with a walker and came all the way from it's like these little huts that you stayed in. And it was probably like the distance from the yurt to my house. And she walked all the way to dinner. I mean, 3 weeks ago, she was not able to walk. It was nuts. So it was, and she was doing all the same things. She was getting 2 Ayurvedic treatments a day. She was doing yoga and breath work. She was eating the really healthy, clean food. No caffeine, tea all you want. No alcohol, no substances of any kind. It sounds so simple, but man, it was pretty amazing to see this lady. Like, and she was just like, yep, I'm healing myself. It was the coolest thing. And she was bragging. She'd go, how many services did you get today? And we were like, well, I just had this mud thing. And she was like, oh, that's sad. I had 2. It was so funny. So funny, but it was so cool to see. Like, I can only imagine what 3 more weeks would have done. The difference in 3 days was so profound that I can't imagine 3 weeks. Like, pretty neat. So oh my gosh, what a dream we talk about going back to Shreyas all the time. What a dreamy experience that was. Okay, you guys. Whew. It's a lot of talking. I haven't talked this much since I taught. What do we want to know more about? Let's see. I'm looking at the Ayurvedic Institute. Panchakarma. It's all different treatments that you can get to help your body detox is basically what Panchakarma is. There used to have like really extreme portion of it, which was like Shuradura, like services can be part of Panchakarma, as well as a cleanse, as well as the neti pot, nausea oil. All those are components of just like a clean cleanse for your system. That you're used to do like bloodletting. That was pretty extreme, like literally like put leeches on you so that they're like pulling toxins out. Not so much of that anymore. I bet there's places in India where that totally happens. The other one is to do enemas, so that you're pulling things out of your body. And there are treatment centers here in the US that do Panchakarma. And that is, have you tried all the banyan teas? Oh, I think the one for high vata, Melissa, would be the Mellow Mind. I like the Mellow Mind. I do think I'm drinking that one right now because it's nighttime and I just wanted to chill before this. I do think that it's calming, but it's not so calming that it's like, oh, I need a nap. Like, I could drink this during the day and it's not going to be like so crazy that it's going to put me to sleep. I love, this one's the Joyful Heart. That one's really yummy. Emily doesn't love the smell of this one, but likes the taste. It's really good. These teas are just beautiful. The Detox Digest is nice too. So it's got specific herbs that, and it tells you right on it what the herbs are. And I'll have to look at the box a little closer. I don't know if it says right on there, if it's suggested for different doshas. So for the Beauty Barn, part of what I just want to incorporate as many Ayurvedic principles as we can into our services, even if it's just like really encouraging clients to come and use, like the sauna is a wonderful detox. Cold plunge is awesome if you're high pitta. Doing practices where it's just even just encouraging people to stay and relax is going to be calming to your system, and just kind of build those things in, as well as more services that we're kind of showing people how you can do things to your body a little bit differently, and that it can feel so good. This next class with Lexus in February is nutrition, and then the third one is the beginning of March, and we're gonna lead into, like, after that class we'll be headed into our spring cleanse. So lots of people interested in the spring cleanse. Last year we had a couple people besides just staff do it, which was super exciting, and they're already asking me again, so people are gonna do it again. So be looking out for spring cleanse information. That's gonna be in March. But it's literally beginning of spring. I think it's like right around St. Patrick's Day. And it's coming, you guys. Spring is coming. Our little daffodils are already started up. I hope it doesn't freeze too much. But we'll do a spring cleanse. It does not have to be terrifying. It feels really good to be doing something for your body and kind of taking control of just like, I'm gonna do this thing. It's the specific Khichdi cleanse that we do for the spring cleanse is to take that winter heaviness away. It's all the same food that you just eat the whole entire time. It's a really easily digestible, sticky substance. It's called Khichdi. So it's basically like mung bean, rice, and seasoning. And you can add certain things to it, and we'll talk about that. But its job is to pull toxins out of your body so that you can be more balanced and ready for spring. What else? Are we doing a cleanse this spring? Yes, we are. Okay, 4 minutes left. I don't know if I've got more to say. Holy cow. It's a lot of talking. One of the things I touched on briefly, that you want to have when you're talking about a balanced meal, you want to have all 6 tastes present. So the 6 tastes are sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. This one is hard for me. I will say, with another part of things being out of whack in my life right now is because we've had to adjust from these giant batches of food to feed 6 to now it's like, oh my gosh, we can afford to shop at the co-op. We could go to Trader Joe's and get a meal as opposed to having to buy 3 things to make a meal. So it's pretty wild. Like, our food has shifted greatly. And part of what we're trying to do is eat fresh foods more often, even when it comes to not having as many leftovers, which has been a really hard challenge for us, because that's kind of how we used to cook, was like one big batch and then eat from it. Ayurveda and apparently Western nutritionists, because my lady is telling me that leftovers are not great for your system. Apparently the heating and recooling and reheating changes the molecular structure enough that it can create a lot of histamine in your body. And I'm like, wait a minute, that is what, I'm like, that is something I learned through Ayurveda, was ideally no leftovers. Oh, it's painful. So I am not saying that is perfect, because that is a huge thing to change. But then, oh, Emily, I'm reading yours. If I'm an even split, things from the third to equally balance. Nope. You're gonna, if you're, the third one is the lowest, basically like the least problem. So if you've got 2 doshas that are most dominant, you're gonna deal with those two is what you kind of want to bring down. So it's not that you're completely ignoring the third, but really you're doing things to try to balance the other 2. So if you're bi-doshic, vata and pitta, then you're gonna do practices and foods that are helping those. The kapha is still there, like you've got that in you too. It's just not as much of an issue at this very moment. What has helped me is, back to the food, the 6 flavors. I am doing a lot of the cooking now with Clint working away some of the time. So he used to be the primary cook, and now I'm doing more of it. And the idea of trying to, I didn't realize how much I was eating one thing. Like, I'm gonna have yogurt, or I'm gonna have rice with sauce on it. I'm gonna have, like, I tend to go simple if it's just for me, or that I don't add a bunch of stuff in, and I'm not getting the nutrients that I need. So that's kind of an interesting, it's helped me grocery shop, to think about, oh, I need something green. I need something that's a little bit sour to add to this. I need, because I tend to run hot, I'm gonna try and add something that has like a basil in it to kind of cool. So that's really helped me think about food differently and kind of challenge myself in a fun way to grocery shop that makes me not hate it as much. So, oh, so much information, you guys. Thank you. I super appreciate you being here. What a fun thing. I wonder if it worked. Thank you. We'll see next month. We'll plan out what's next. I think we're going to do a skincare one. I'm excited. Have a good night, you guys. Thanks for coming.